Yeah, I wanted to start with that actually.
Yeah.
It's a significant quote, isn't it?
I haven't looked at it for a while.
We recently ran a story in the Voice newspaper about an Ethiopian prince who,
Alemayu.
who purchased a shield back from an auction house because he felt should be rightly placed with artifacts owned by the royal family and I guess displayed by them. And I saw this quote here today behind you, and I thought to myself, that's an interesting place to start, isn't it?
It's an interesting place to start, and I think that each thing has its own story, and the objects in the case here from Magdala, from Ethiopia, which were looted from Ethiopia, obviously they're not going to stay here, that's just how I feel about it personally. But then there are all sorts of negotiations behind the scenes in the real world, where the real world is like, well, can we do some long-term loan thing where it belongs to you, but it stays here for a while or something like that? And that's beyond my pay grade. My feeling is that that the stuff was looted. It was controversial in its day when the stuff was looted, because Queen Victoria herself felt bad that they were attacking a Christian country. If they were attacking a bunch of savages in inverted commas, she wouldn't have no problems with that. And that's. But I'm being very simplistic about it. I'm not an expert on the Magdala.
It's just your opinion, literally, as you said on the quote there.
Exactly, and that's where I'm coming from with this. And the Magdala expedition was a shocking thing. I mean, a lot of stuff. But history is messy.
Well, we're going to get onto that because that's one of the first things that got me when I came in, was your reference to this being part one, firstly.
Yeah.
And that messy is history.
It's messy.
History is messy.
It's messy.
You seem to have made it very much messier in here today. Would you say?
Yes, exactly. That's the point. I mean, I've got these two prominent things on show which the Jamaican government say they want back. They weren't looted from Jamaica. There's the Birdman, the Taino Birdman, which is iconic in Jamaican identity, because Jamaica, the coat of arms of Jamaica, as I read it, has two Amerindian figures. That's not the population now. That's not the situation now. And again, I got to be careful what I say, because Jamaican scholars will be jumping on me saying, "How dare you say that? You get it wrong," and stuff like that. But I show these particularly because there's a controversy about them. But they also represent first contact, survival. They represent many things, and they're just extraordinarily powerful objects.
This is your first artist curated exhibition, right? You've never done this before. What was it as an experience? What was it like? Because you're au fait, familiar with the place. You've been here 4 years.
It was really good. I mean, contrary to what people might believe, I had a lot of support from curators in the museum who were saying, "Look, did you know this story? This story? That guy is showing me something which is a good conduct medal, which is a small little medal in one of the cases. And a good conduct medal was a medal which was a beautiful thing, which was struck and which was being handed out to ex-slaves, because the plantation owners now desperately needed them to come back to work on the place where their horrors were, right? So what do? I don't know, we're gonna make this beautiful little good conduct medal and hand these out, and it's absurd, but
significant.
But significant, you know what I mean? And so that's what this show is. There are lots of little stories, and the stories range across the globe. They range from Africa to the Caribbean, from India, to here, and overriding this as well, a work, my own works mixed in with it,
Yeah.
And above the whole thing are the watchers, these figures. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they come from. One of them has a dress made out of Jamaican share certificates. Another one has Ethiopian stuff, fabric from Ethiopian imagery, and but they're there, and Are they talking? Are they criticizing us? Are they looking at us? The whole point about them is that if you come in here and you're in the room by yourself, and you go to an exhibition by yourself, like, God, I get in by myself, I get the whole thing to myself. You're not alone. You know, this presence is there watching you. And as I'm talking to you, the whole point of this is that out of the corner of my eye, I'm seeing this figure, this mother and these two kids, and she's looking at me, she's reaching out her hand saying, you know, what's your complicity in this situation? What do you think? Are they judging us? Are they commenting? It's this an unknown thing, you know what I mean? You know?
That uncertainty, right?
Exactly. And in this show, I ask myself whether I'm complicit, because I accepted an OBE, and that was a big debate as to whether I would accept that.
Still a big debate.
Oh, it's a big debate. It's a big debate. You know, I mean, you know, people of color. That's a big debate. Do you take this thing on? You know, but I accepted it, and I'm glad I did, and I did it for me. You know. And David Olusogu had a great article about why he accepted this, and I thought, yeah, you're right, you know. But I thought, despite that, I thought I need to say that I am part of some sort of something, some sort of establishment. So, and I'm a Royal Academician, so my Royal Academy medal is there as well, with the head of a guy who lived in times when of enslavement and stuff like that. But next to it is an Ife head, a replica made in the late 1940s. Right. And it's a beautiful thing, right? And the question is, can you not have replicas? Can you not have, you can send something back, but what do you create in its place? And these replicas are old, right? Fiberglass replicas. Beautiful things, and according to the curators I was talking to, they have a value. They have a spiritual value, and that was interesting, you know.
Right. Okay.
But then sometimes the real thing there's no substitute for the real thing. It's complicated, and this show is about complications, you know. Don't think you can uncomplicate it, because the past is complicated.
Right.
You know, no matter how we want to see things may be more not necessarily what we want. Like I was thinking, like there are times when I was working, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. There are times when I'm working on this project, I'm thinking, man, I wish that was a simple answer. Like, I wish they were evil, completely, totally evil. And I think, well, they're not totally evil, but they are complicit. So how evil? You know, I'm sometimes looking for a black and white answer to things, when sometimes it's grey. You know?
I believe all things are separated by degrees anyway, so...
Yeah.
Hew Locke, thank you very much for your time, mate. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, no worries, mate.